I think it was good to shoot the movie in continuity because you can't say to a youngster, we're shooting the last scene first and the first scene last. You can't say that to a kid. It doesn't make sense to them. And I wanted them to be so caught up as themselves and as their characters by the time they say goodbye to E.T. that whatever emotion happened there would happen on take one and would be genuine emotion. And every single shot you see of Elliot crying and hugging E.T. and saying, I'll be right here and doing this, that's all take one.
Ouch.
There was a scene shot where Elliot and the boys are playing D&D, Dungeons and Dragons again. First of all, Elliot's now the ringmaster rather than the little brother trying to get in. He has all this confidence. He's grown. He's the master of his own destiny now.
We come in peace. We have been on this journey for many days. We are adventurers, searching for experience. If we don't got any, we aren't going to be able to survive in this world. Goodbye, E.T.
The camera goes out the window and rises, and you see that on the roof is the communicator.
So we have two shields now.
All right, let's split up.
No,
Try
I
to
get one
start
shield,
a
I
new
get
game.
one shield.
Isn't it getting too late?
No,
Sure.
Okay, my monk paladin's going on.
Yeah, paladin monk. Right, wrong, forget
Sure.
it.
What's wrong with the paladin monk?
Go
It's in the
home,
rules.
Mikey, we don't like it.
This is my home.
I'm sorry. Get out then.
Oh, what does he have
Tonight.
now? Plate
It's gonna
mail,
go
huh?
out. No,
You can only assume that one day they'll be in touch again. It's a nice ending. It would be just as good as the other ending. But what happened, I believe, is that when the other ending was shot and looked at, it was so emotional. Henry was so emotional that it was hard to go anywhere else. And it didn't really matter whether you felt like they were going to see each other again. That wasn't the point anymore.
Very early on, we, in trying to get the film down to size, we made several fairly large lifts. And because you never know if those pieces of film are going to go back in, they were lifted out in their entirety. I remember one of the first big lifts that we took was the school material, where Elliot's acting up at school. He's taken to the principal's office. The principal was played by Harrison Ford.
I don't know,
You say you don't know why you did these things.
but I'm sorry. I'll never do them again.
I see you fine young people from good homes, every advantage, your whole life laid out in front of you. And I see the pot, the pills, the angel wings. Sure, it's a cruel world out there. Deceit, treachery.
It was a very big deal for me because I had done a couple of things before, but I'd always, the reason I got involved in film in the first place was because I had seen Star Wars, and that was fantastic to me. And this came along, and there was an alien in a spaceship, and I thought, well, it's not Star Wars, but it's definitely something to do with outer space. Wow, this is great. And Harrison Ford, my God, who could ask for anything more?
I'm there.
I'm there.
So we have Harrison Ford playing the principal, very strict, sitting back, you know, in a tweed suit. And I didn't show his face that clearly. I just showed the back of his head and his hand tapping and his leg, because I wasn't showing adults in the movie. So he was still a... That's why I think he did it. He said he'd do it because he didn't have to really be on camera. And so as he's lecturing Elliot, but his back is turned, so he's not looking at Elliot. Elliot's sitting in a chair across from the principal. E.T., meanwhile, is at home trying to take all these communicator parts and telepathically, somewhat, through telekinesis, move them up the stairs. So as E.T. is successful in moving all this junk heap up the stairs to the bedroom, Elliot starts rising.
I wouldn't lie to you, son. See, you're in a way your own best friend, or your own worst enemy.
I'm Elliot's mother.
Of course you are. Don't you worry about a thing. Elliot and I have had our little talk, and I think we know where we're coming from. I think the best thing to do is to go home for the rest of the day and think about what's happened here today and tomorrow. Well, tomorrow, like they say, tomorrow's the first day of the rest of your life. Am I right?
May we go now?
Yes, both of you dismissed. Dismissed.
I have this little part in the movie where I'm a nurse, and it's a scene that, thank goodness, and lucky for all of us, is no longer in the movie. But Elliot is acting so berserko in class that they send him down to the school nurse. So they put me in this nurse's outfit with a little hat, and I remember that there was a big discussion whether my hair should be really flat or be sticking out. So they chose sticking out, and luckily I was a silhouette. Which, even still, it's good I'm gone, but I was only a silhouette. I didn't have to talk. But I did have to grab Elliot by the arm, and I think at one point Henry complained that I was grabbing him too hard. But luckily it's no longer in there.
Action. I think all movies, every scene needs to advance the story. And anytime a scene doesn't advance the story, but it's just fun for the sake of fun, it doesn't really belong in the movie, but belongs in kind of a neat, nifty archive, or maybe at the back of a laser disc. But I really regret two things in the movie. I regret that a gun was used as a threat to stop children on bicycles. And that last cut, before E.T. opens his eyes and the bikes take off, with the gun coming up, not pointing at the kids, but just coming up in a brandishing, kind of at-ready position. I regret that cut, and I regret the cut of the cops with guns in their hand, running out to the abandoned, Econoline van with the dry ice pouring out of the back, and E.T. is gone and he's not in there. I really regret having any guns in the movie. And if I ever reissue the picture, I'll use the digital miracle of CGI to take the guns out of the cop's hands, and I'll just simply delete the shot of the cop holding the gun up, which in the current film causes E.T. to fly. I think those were two, distasteful moments for me.
E.T. phone home.
Does this mean they're coming?
When I did the picture, I had to give off-camera dialogue, and rather than just have the script person read the dialogue out loud in a normal tone of voice, I began to say things like,
E.T. phone home.
or I would say things like,
Elliot. Elliot. Or I'll be right here.
and it was that sort of thing, and it was fun to do, and I did that, and that became the temp track. But then my friend Deborah Winger, I loved her voice. She had a really, low, husky, beautiful voice. And one day when I was shooting the Halloween scene, just before dusk, we began turning the cameras, Deborah came over to visit, and I said, can you come over and do every single E.T. line in the script for me to a tape recorder? And I brought the sort of tape recorder, or Nagra, it was a full Nagra, into my trailer in the suburbs, and I turned it on, and Deborah took the script and did every single voice. So anybody and everybody who saw the rough cut of E.T. heard a couple lines of mine, actually still in the movie, but most of all, they heard Deborah Winger's voice and never knew it was Deborah doing all the voice inside the rough cut. And then Ben Burtt found Pat Welsh.
She was not an actress, and although she had always wanted to be an actress, and in fact had briefly pursued ambitions in those directions sometime back in the 1930s or 40s, I explained to her what I was trying to do, that I was searching for an interesting quality voice for an alien character.